2, 1,
Go!
Good to have you back,
it's more
Lewis.
fun.
Always such a great contributor to all of these.
Having to restart really filled me with energy there as well. That was
I'm fucking super energetic now. I wasn't before.
Run outside.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Triforce podcast. Hope you enjoyed that little bit behind the scenes. So we've been away since December. We haven't done a podcast since Christmas, which is actually it's the 1st of March today.
It's the 1st of March today. It's a snow day as well.
Yeah.
But it kind of reminds me of the very first podcast I ever did with Simon, which was a Snowcast. It was done on a snowy day. We were trapped indoors everywhere. Britain was like locked down. We were kind of in a bit. I was living in the sticks definitely, and he was living in the sticks, and so it was a bit more, like because we're in the centre of Bristol now, and you're in the centre of London. P-Flax. The snow isn't really too much of a problem, is it? Around where you are, you're not
too bad. I mean, Mrs. F hasn't gone into work today because, I mean, in London, the trains and the tube all shuts down if there's a whisper of snow. So it's all
any
delayed
excuse, right?
Oh, exactly.
Anyone, everyone loves to get a snow day.
But school is
it's one
on,
of the perks of living in England that you get snow days.
My schools are all closed here today. Everything is closed here today. The whole island is shut down.
Jesus,
the snow.
Excellent. Are you going to go and build a snowman? Are you going to go and throw some snowballs, or have you already done it?
There's not enough. That's the stupid thing. Everything's closed, but there's not enough snow to even do a snow angel. Like there's like little tiny tufts of snow everywhere.
It's really not that thick.
It's just really wispy snow, and it's not. It's not enough to actually bring anything to a grinding halt. But everybody is always just looking for an excuse to shut everything down. In some ways, it's exciting, right? My kids are like really excited because they've never seen snow before. Also, everything's closed and they get to stay home all day in their pajamas and stuff. So they're pretty excited. But, it's kind of...
I suppose it is a little bit dangerous. I mean, I walked down today into just down to the office today, and there was a lady in front of me who was clearly not wearing the right shoes, and neither was I, because I left my walking shoes here at the office. And,
you had your flip-flops on?
And she sort of slipped, but didn't fall over. But she definitely like slipped, and it was one of those moments. And I cracked a smile, and that was the karma that got me. And then I fucking slipped as well. And just you have that moment where your heart like beats out of your chest, and you think, oh fuck. But then you're like, okay. And then I walked like an old gran the rest of the way into the office. So that's why we're late, and that's why this podcast is going to be a little bit short
truncated.
Today.
It's going to be
because of the snow and stuff. But we've been away. We've all been away. You've been to China, P-Flax.
I went to Shanghai, yeah. It was for a Dota tournament out there. China. I went to Shanghai for Star Ladder, and I'd never worked with Star Ladder before. I'd never been to China before. I had to get my visa sorted and everything. I've got a 2-year visa to China, but... As amazing as China was, and I had some great food out there. Shanghai is like a city of something like 30 million people.
I know.
It's absolutely insane. Like, I've lived in New York, I've lived in London, I've been to lots of big cities around the world, and I thought I'd seen the scale of what human civilization can look like. I had not seen anything until I'd seen Shanghai. It's endless city. Like, you keep going and you think, we've been driving for an hour in like the heaviest traffic. And you come out and you think, well, this must be like the suburban area. Nope, still all high-rises, massive buildings. You go past like what would be the equivalent to Canary Wharf and the City in London. You go past that like 18 times. There's just huge stacks of buildings everywhere. It was nuts.
It is.
The roads are always
level,
busy. There's always people everywhere, night and day. But there are some strange things about China, but like cultural things. Number one is... I'm
so excited for this. I've been waiting for this for like 2 months. I'm just like gripped.
Okay.
I was just
they don't open late. Stuff doesn't open late. So like at the hotel we were at, if you tried to get dinner past like 7 or 8, they were like huffing and puffing and like folding their arms and scowling at you while you ate and stuff, and they tell you a bunch of stuff wasn't on the menu. The hotel bar didn't get in at once. Didn't get in there. It literally was like, no, it's shut. I was like, it's 5:30. It's like, yeah, shut. I was like, Jesus.
When does it open?
I don't know. Like, I couldn't figure this out. And there was like just when you go out for if you go out for a meal to like a restaurant, they'll generally be open pretty late. But there was a lot of places that seemed to shut pretty early. The other thing they have, and I'd heard this before, is that in China it's not uncommon if you ask someone to do something for them to delegate. And then rather than check up on the situation to be like, well, it's someone else's problem now. No one wants to take responsibility for stuff. Like there's a kind of reluctance to do that. So if you say to someone, we need some food in here because we've been working for like 15 hours, can we get some food? Oh yeah, I'll look into it. And what they mean is they'll say to someone, they want food, and then they're done. Like, hands off, it's not my problem anymore. And I feel like that might have come about from having a very authoritarian government for such a long time. Is like, I do not want to be the guy that they go to and say, hey, did you kill those peasants yet? No, sorry, I didn't. Then it's like your fault. But if you say, I told General so-and-so to do it. Oh, really? I'll go talk to General so-and-so. So it's like someone else's problem. So
they keep passing it around.
It's a whole society of modern office culture then.
Yeah, it's literally
is General so-and-so here? No, he's just popped out. Okay.
Trying to find an
Is
open
anybody
bar.
doing anything today? No, not my problem. I delegated it all to someone else.
I mean, I'm sure if there's anyone from China that watches this, I apologize if I'm wrong, but that was certainly what I felt. And from talking to other people, that's the impression that I got, was that it's not uncommon to have people hand work off and say not check up on it. So it's like, not my problem sort of thing, which was kind of interesting.
That's a weird little thing to pick up on from basically one of the biggest, most like up and coming, like Shanghai. It's the new wealth, the new world, right?
Yeah.
Everything's going east. Like China has this. It's massive. It's huge. It's the second biggest economy in the world. And Shanghai is like
insane.
the showpiece city,
insane,
right?
Yeah.
It's like a kind of. It's just vast wealth and
vast.
new stuff
It's
too.
like the
new
future.
things being
Yeah, it
built.
is.
Everything's so modern. I'm really interested in other things that you picked up while you were out there, actually.
The food was really, really good. I'll say that. People were like, "Oh, you go to Shanghai, the food's going to give you're going to get a mud butt from that in no time." But the food was no problem. Like I did not get a runny bum at all. Like I loved it, and I ate the spiciest food I have ever eaten in my life. Like I was on another planet. It was so spicy. It was amazing, and. Yeah, it was really something else. But there are little things like they the way when you go to a foreign country in Europe or whatever, and you say to someone, "Do you speak English?" They'll say, "Oh, no English, sorry." If you ask that question in China, they don't even understand the question, "Do you speak English?" Like, that's how big the language and cultural divide is between us. Is that you say to, like, I went out for a smoke. We were in the restaurant. I went out for a vape, and there was nowhere to go apart from this little hallway that was like the fire exit. And so it was like a big concrete stairwell. And all the staff, there was like 3 or 4 waiters and chefs out there also having a smoke, because they all smoke like crazy in China. And I'm out there vaping, and they're looking at me like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" And I was like, anyone speak English? And they were all like looking at each other like, what did he just say? Like, it was literally, they didn't even understand the question, do you speak English? Any more than I would understand if they said to me in Chinese.
Maybe I'm a bit ignorant, but I always figured in China you could just smoke inside. Like, I thought it was like that episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Frank gets like all of those Asian guys in and they're playing cards in the back room, and the whole room is just like full of smoke. All of them are smoking and stuff. Yeah. And I just imagined that everywhere in China was like that, but maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, there's lots of places you can't smoke, but I mean, it's not uncommon in China for them to just ignore that. So there was some of the other customers in the restaurant. They went for a cigarette and they literally just stood like next to one of the tables, like not next to their own table. They went and stood next to someone else's table and smoked there, and no one said anything. It was just like, yeah, that's how it is, sort of thing. But like we went on the underground. The underground over there is pretty cool. It's all very wide, very efficient, unbelievably busy. It's not dissimilar to the London Underground, honestly, in terms of like, how it all works. It's not
how it feels.
Yeah, it's not insanely complicated or anything, but it was incredibly busy. Everywhere was incredibly busy. All their stations are vast. Like, if there's a stairway, it won't be like a stairway like you get here at like a little district line station. It'll be like wide enough for 8 people to walk down. It's like everything is bigger. All the roads are massive.
A lot of their stuff has been built recently, though.
Yes, it has.
I guess the big difference with the London Underground is it's been around forever.
That's true.
Every station has like some rich history of when it was bombed and how people had to live there during a bombing and stuff like that. But like, I guess a Chinese metro station was built like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Nobody cares.
It is. Everything has
all
that
very clinical,
that fresh city smell to it. It's kind of funny. Yeah. But I mean, we went down to the Bund, which is like the old European quarter, because I think Shanghai used to be owned by or operated under, or something to do with Europe. Yeah, you can look up the history yourselves.
We it was part of the concessions in the Great Opium, the first Opium War, I think.
So there's a couple of movies about that with Owen Wilson and Jackie Chan in them.
I think you're right.
It sort of covers those in detail.
Was there like German influence there or
Yes,
something?
there
Why is
was.
it called the
That's why
Bund?
it's called the
I don't
Bund.
know.
Yeah, so
I think it was called Shanghai Nights, actually.
yes, you're right. It was. Didn't he go there as a cowboy? I can't believe this place. It's like another planet. Wow.
Yeah,
So
the one.
the Bund was, you could have been in Europe. Like, genuinely, it was like the style of buildings and there's like the promenades and stuff to walk on and everything. But the smog in Shanghai, although it's nothing as bad as Beijing, it was properly bad. Like, there were quite a few days we just couldn't see past, like, a couple of roads. It was that thick. And
Wow.
we went down to the river to look across to see, like, this tower, this Pearl Tower, I think it's called. It's like the biggest tower, one of the biggest towers in the world. It's this huge, ornate structure, sort of like the Eiffel Tower, but bigger, And it's just this huge thing with this big ball halfway up it. I assume you can go up it, but you can barely
looks like
see it across the river. Like, it was super misty and smoggy. And we were looking down the river, and luckily we had a local guide with us, if you like, a girl called Jofi. She's a Dota 2 manager for Team Newbie. Lovely girl. She showed us around. She explained everything. She learned English from watching Netflix.
Okay.
So she's
That's
she's
amazing.
I know. So she's like, thank you, Netflix. And I was like, how did you learn English? She was like, Netflix. Just watch Netflix.
Just watch a lot of Netflix.
Yeah, and
I guess it could kind of happen.
Yeah. I mean, and I said, did you just have the subtitles on or something? But yes.
I've been watching a lot of Gomorrah lately, and I feel like I'm pretty much Italian at this point.
Yeah, but
I know
she
what
was
they're
cool.
saying
If it
most of
hadn't
the
been for
time.
her, we would have been completely screwed. Like, she took us out to these good restaurants and everything, and really looked after us. So shout out to her. She was fantastic.
Do they learn English in school? Because I know in Japan, most Japanese people have done like 3 to 5 years of English,
Right.
but it's very much focused on grammar and some of these other things. So it's sort of not really conversational. And
Well,
so,
yeah.
I didn't find that many people spoke English when I went to Japan. I don't know. Maybe I just was unlucky or whatever. But we found that a lot of the places we went into, if we asked people if they spoke English, they just, like Flax was saying, just literally had never heard a word of it before in their lives.
I mean, that
and
might
just
be a
didn't know how
generational
to
thing, because
react.
I find the same thing when I went to Germany. A lot of the older people, like my mum's age, or maybe slightly less than my mum's age and up, don't speak a lick of English. Like but all the younger guys that I know in Germany, they all speak English, like really well.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's like a lot of media, like, like younger guys especially probably watch a lot of movies, watch a lot of TV shows, play a lot of video games,
But
and
they
stuff,
dub
and all of
everything.
that stuff.
They dub everything in Germany. Every TV
Yeah,
show, every
I guess.
movie. But I mean, I think the internet has helped
Yeah.
in a big way. And also, I just think they may be learning it in school more. But I don't know if they do teach English in China. But
no.
I mean, I
It
find that
does
Japan
certainly-
is quite deferential. I think because of the war, they're kind of obsessed with Western culture in a way. So I think that might be a part of it. I don't think China is as much. I think
it's definitely a cultural thing.
they're so
I think the
big.
Japanese with the American influence coming in and kind
Exactly.
of, but also I think Japan is much more open to the world than China. I mean, China's still, they have their own. They have their own stuff.
Yeah,
they have
yeah.
their own search engine. They have their own, like companies, their own car companies, their own everything companies. It's hard to sometimes get Western stuff into China because they're very much like, well, why would we want to buy anything? We can make it ourselves.
Yeah.
We could own it ourselves, And that's I guess part of the strength, but also keeps them a bit more isolationist, I think.
It is very much like that. The internet over there was very strange. So, for instance,
There's like Ministry of Truth stuff over there.
It is a
isn't
bit, yeah. I mean, I was very concerned about what I searched for. So, I mean, for instance, if I was on the hotel Wi-Fi, I couldn't use WhatsApp, Google. Like, you just cannot access Google at all. Any of the major Western sites or anything, you just can't get to them. But if
what is, and I'm sure everybody else at home listening right now is thinking the same thing. What is
WhatsApp.
their Pornhub like?
Oh my god!
couldn't find it. It's all Chinese characters.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, like I went to their web. I think it's called Baidu, Baidu. I think is
Yes.
their search engine. Couldn't understand a lick of it. It was all in Chinese. So as you would expect, if I typed something in Western characters into the box, it would return search results, but they were all in Chinese. So I couldn't really understand what was going on. So I was like, all right, never mind the internet. I'll just watch TV because they had like a movie channel on in the room. But the selection of movies was very poor. Mostly Chinese movies, obviously, and then the Western movies were not good ones. So, but we didn't spend much time indoors, honestly. We were either out and about or we were working, and then I was like knackered because the time difference really fucks you up. It was not the good way to travel. Going east is like really bad in terms
It's
of
like
jet
8
lag.
hours ahead over there, isn't
Yeah.
it?
It's tricky. We had the same situation. So we went out to Australia for RTX.
Yeah.
We spent a day in Singapore on the way because I thought, like, you know, traveling for 27 hours, flying for 27 hours is kind of AIDS. So let's stop off halfway. But that kind of was a good idea because we got to see Singapore for a day, and it was kind of a bad idea because it just prolonged the hell of jet lag. At least once you're there, you can properly sleep and start working on fixing your sleep pattern. But because we were there very jet lagged for a day and then off on the plane again, it was kind of a bit
that's
a bit messy.
We had one day to get used to it. I just woke up at 4 a.m. every day. That was it. 4 a.m. every day. I'd wake up and then we'd work. The shifts were pretty long. They were about like 12 or 13 hours long because it's a Dota tournament.
How long were you there for?
I think 5 or 6 days.
Oh,
so not that long.
It's not bad. No, but it's still better than
exactly.
But,
I wouldn't have wanted to be there for 2 weeks.
So you were just sort of on, were you? You were ready to be casting when people were playing?
I cast a series with OD, which was great. I hadn't cast. We'd never done an all-English cast before. That was the first all-English cast in Dota, believe it or not. At an event that I know of. No one pointed any out to me. So me and OD cast one of the early series of games that was kind of a stomp. And then I was on the panel. But it was always like this is the way event organizers think. They think we'll put them on in the morning panel, then we'll give them the break in the afternoon, and then they can go along in the later panel. But you want to do back to back. Like no one ever wants the break. You want to get the work done so you can go back to the hotel, or you want to start later for both your shifts so you can come in later. Like that's what you want. Take note, organizers, please. So generally speaking, it'd be like, right, everybody in. We want call times like 8:30. We'll go straight there. You got to like make up. And the makeup girl didn't speak, obviously, any English. So when you're trying to say to her, please don't put so much makeup on, she's like spatula, like just covering
mascara,
you.
Blusher,
Literally.
she's got the eyeliner
all over
on
your
you.
entire head.
She was like putting like eyeliner on my eyebrows and like brushing them for ages and getting them just right. So they were like pitch black eyebrows, and then my face was like ghostly pale. It was kind of funny, but But she was nice enough. So that took forever. And then we'd wait around for a bit, and then we'd have to do the panel, and then Dota takes forever. Like the draft stage takes like 15, 20 minutes in alone, you know? And then you've got to throw to the casters, then you have to watch the game, then you come back and talk about it, and talk about the next game. So it's like a lot of downtime, but then you've also got to watch the game. Like, because you have to talk about it, right? So you have to watch the game like a hawk. So it's kind of the days do feel long, but also if you like Dota, you don't mind because you enjoy the drama of it and everything, and you're just sitting around watching video games for Christ's sake. You can't complain that much.
No.
Yeah. You're not cracking rocks open or fucking hauling,
it's like, man, I have to
trash.
watch video games for 10 hours and get paid for it. Oh, it's like, Jesus.
Oh, God, that's terrible.
But I did get horribly sick. That was the one downside that actually will live with me forever. It's the illest I've ever been.
So hang on a second, though. You said you didn't get
sick.
I didn't. On the plane home, I started to get a mighty headache, and I thought it's just the jet lag or whatever.
Oh, no.
So I actually upgraded to business class because I thought it's a 14-hour flight or whatever. Fuck it. It was dead cheap. It was post-Christmas. It was like 300 quid to upgrade. I was like, fuck it.
Yeah, it's nuts. You get the airport rates, and if you're lucky, like you're on a flight that
it was not a busy
kind
flight.
It
was not a busy flight.
Yeah, you can get a really cheap upgrade.
So,
it's worth it.
Business is really worth it. What did you fly with?
BA. So it was
BA business is fantastic.
It was nice. I mean, it wasn't first class, but it was nice. It was very nice. I had the bed that lies down. I had all the good movies, big screen and everything.
I mean, that's what it's about. It's about the actual the bed that actually goes vaguely horizontal because it's a game changer. I just can't sleep sitting up.
Me and Terps did the same when we went to LA. We did this Hearthstone thing in LA. Yeah. We were only there for like 2 days. And it was a good trip, but we upgraded to business because it was super cheap. We were on Air New Zealand.
Right.
And
they're good. They're really good.
Yeah. On board the plane, there was a chef. Okay. And he came over to each of us and he's like, hey guys, I'm the chef on the flight today. We're like, what? There's a chef on the flight? He's like, yeah, you guys want anything to eat? I was like, yeah, I guess so. He's like, I can make this. I was like, can I just have some pasta or something? He's like, yeah, no problem.
Could you get some peppers and some?
Oh my God! And the food was halloumi, so good too. It was just like eating in a restaurant.
Wow.
Fuck, it was fantastic.
That's great.
It wasn't all they have it's all wrapped up and they just shove it into the incinerator and serve it to you. It was all prepared properly, really good food. It was awesome.
But so 5 minutes into the flight, the ladies come around giving out the champagne. And I was feeling great at this point, and she promptly spilled a full glass of water like all over me. Like my trousers were soaked through. She was like so apologetic. Would you like some pajamas from first class? I was like, yes, I would. So I got changed into these nice pajamas from first class. I left my trousers on the empty seat next to me to dry. And then I had a nap. I watched some movies. And then I started to get this awful headache. And I thought, like I said, it must be jet lag. And then the next day when I woke up at home, I was the sickest I've ever been. Like the sickest I've ever been. I couldn't cough. It hurt so much that I was like in tears just trying to get one cough out. So I was like in bed sick, which never happens to me, for like a whole week. And then the next week after that, I was just feeling like shit. Nothing tasted right. It was snot pouring out of me. And then I took like another, and it's only like the last couple of days I've actually been myself again. So that was the longest I've ever fucking had to endure sickness. So that sadly is my lasting memory of China is...
What was it you had?
Flu. Actual flu.
Just flu?
But like Chinese flu, which is like your body is completely unprepared for foreign flu, right? And they all wear masks in China, like not just for the smog, but for the germs. You got that many people, you're gonna get sick. Like, I should have worn the fucking mask. Next time I go, I'm wearing a full headset like the guy in E.T. that goes into Elliot's house to retrieve E.T. I'm wearing the full radiation suit next time because, oh man, it was bad.
If you really like snorting cocaine,
right,
and that's the only way that you'll do your cocaine, what do you do when you have a cold? Do you think that that's the best time to kick the habit?
No, I think you inject it into your penis at that point in liquid solution.
Well, yeah. I would use that as an opportunity to get off the wagon, I think.
I mean, yeah.
Like, I got a cold. I can't snort anything right now.
That's how I quit
Nothing's
smoking.
going in. It's all coming out.
That's a good way to quit smoking.
So this is how I'm going to kick cocaine.
Well, you're feeling like shit anyway, so...
Yeah, you can't smoke when you're deathly ill. Like, especially you got really bad lungs. You go like 2 weeks without smoking. You could just stop. And that was how I did it. I was like, I had a bad cold and I was like, you know what? This is actually a good opportunity to actually just stop. And it does work.
When I was in my teens, I used to smoke a lot, and I had to quit smoking when I got pneumonia. I had to quit smoking for like a month. And then after, when I was feeling better, I was right back on the cigs.
Well, you're young. Well, you're going to smoke when you're young.
I was like 15 or something. So.
Oh, you got to smoke when you're 15. Come on.
Your rebound after sickness when you're 15 is nuts, though. You're just like...
I'm back, baby.
Yeah,
so
I'm back, baby.
Talking about flights, we flew back from New Zealand on Emirates business via Dubai, which was quite an interesting airport to go around.
I saw this thing just before you continue. They're building a building or it's a hotel in Dubai that like the floors can revolve around and like the whole building is just constantly morphing around and stuff because it's like built like in a stepped fashion or something. It looks crazy.
So are you supposed
nuts
to decide which? I think each
you
room
can
you can swivel.
You want. Yeah, you can swivel it around, and so the whole building just looks like a. It looks like somebody doing pottery, but leaving the wheel just going, and like like the whole thing turns into like a long dick shape and just starts flopping around everywhere. That's what the building looks like. Yeah, it's crazy.
So,
I mean, I don't think it'll go that fast. But.
So it basically is the idea that like you wake up in the morning to the sunrise coming in through your window, but then you can rotate your room round to have like when the sun goes down, you can have the sunrise out of your sunset out of your window. Is that the idea?
Right. I think
it's like a natural, like sleep trigger and wake up thing.
I thought it was super interesting, so I thought I'd mention it, but carry on, sorry.
I mean, the alternative you could just do if you wanted that without having to buy it, you could just literally have your bed on wheels, right? And just like wheel it across the other side of your house, right? And then it would be the same.
Right.
I mean,
I kind of like that there's periods of the day where the sun comes in and then other times where it doesn't. I'm happy with that. Like, I don't feel the need to rotate, but... I guess
but I'm just saying that if you wanted to have a rotating house, to do a cheaper way would just be to have all your furniture on wheels, wouldn't it? You know, you could just
like the Valve
push it yourself.
Offices.
Yeah. Well, we went to this flipping. We went to one of the places we stayed in New Zealand was up the top of this massive, terrifying cliff, and we got all the way up there. And we thought, how the fuck are we going to get back down this horrible path to this place? We have to reverse all the way up this horrible winding mess, but at the very top,
did you feel like you were in Middle Earth the whole time you were there?
Yeah, it did feel a lot like that actually.
Nice.
And we got to the top, and the hobbits were and then it had like a turntable, right? So the idea was that you push your car, I'd never seen this before, onto a turntable, and you literally push the car 180 degrees and then drive it back down. It was madness.
Are you sure it wasn't the Beacon of Amundin? The Beacon is lit. Lewis calls for aid.
Come to think of it, it was the Beacon of Amundin.
That was Duncan taking off his top, actually. That was the beacons.
The beacon is lit.
Everybody, he's up there and takes his top off.
Neon white torso.
On a distant hilltop, a fire is lit. And then
his nerd skin rippling in the sunlight.
Send a sunbed.
Yeah.
Send a sunbed to Gondor now.
Oh, fuck.
We had a lovely time, actually. In
you guys
Australia,
were gone forever.
Oh, man.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I forgot about you guys. You know what? I got to the point where it's like, you know what? I moved on. I actually classed you guys as dead, and that was it. I
wrote us off. Yeah.
I just moved on to other things and just completely worked you guys out of my schedules and stuff, and just like that's it. But now you're back, and I gotta readapt.
Yeah, you gotta.
Now.
You know what day it is today and tomorrow? Today, tomorrow, definitely. It's World Book Day. We're recording this nearish to World Book Day. So my kids, I don't know, your kids would have had the same thing probably if they'd gone into school. Was they had to dress up as characters from their favorite book or their favorite characters.
They
from
did theirs already. I think they did it like a week or two ago.
Okay, so it's obviously not World Book Day. It's like World Book Day-ish. Like it's around this kind of time.
It is. I think it's like they do it over the course of a month.
Yeah, I think because the schools have got to find a time when it works for them as well, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So my eldest is going in tomorrow as Alice from Alice in Wonderland, a book she has not read, but she likes the character. Okay. And my youngest is going as a character from Harry Potter, also a book she has not read, but she's seen all the movies. And her favourite character, as I may have mentioned before, is Ron Weasley. So she has gone as Ron Weasley.
AKA Duncan Jones.
Which is
Duncan cosplays as his own Weasley brother.
Oh, right.
He cosplays as like a slightly older Weasley member of the family. Yeah. Like Duncan Weasley, basically.
Weasley. But she's got like a little red wig, like a red, it comes with a red wig, so she really looks like him, and a little Hogwarts cloak. And I lent her one of my old ties, and she's so fucking happy. It was hilarious.
Man.
Ron Weasley, of all the characters. Ron Weasley, he's like the punchline of the entire trilogy. Or not trilogy, however many books it is.
Oh, God.
He does get the girl, though, eventually. God, that's got to be a tick mark, right?
True.
What? He gets Hermione.
What's
her name again?
Hermione Granger's and Ron.
Wait, I thought that it's okay.
Luna Lovelace is Harry's girl, right? So I think he gets Luna
Lovegood.
Whatever. I don't think it's Lovegood, is it?
You're thinking of Ada Lovelace.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Who is, I believe, dead a long time ago.
The first computer programmer. She's dead. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, holy crap. I've got so much to talk about. I feel like I want to play a game of Hearts of Iron 4 and just pick New Zealand and talk about it.
We should play a game of Stellaris. The new expansion is really good.
I was playing it with Mutt the other day, Sips. I think you were on the channel. Oh my God, that game. I love the expansion for Stellaris. I've been playing it a lot.
It's fantastic.
It is so good. So
they really streamlined a lot of like the stuff that just didn't feel great like originally. So now, like how influence used to work, Lewis? You'd colonize a planet and then influence would slowly creep out. Sometimes you'd be lucky enough to maybe like nab a good system within your sphere of influence or whatever. They've changed it all now so that it's only hyperlanes, okay?
Which is great. I think that's really good.
And each system, if you want to claim the system, you have to build an outpost, okay? So the outpost is like a mini star base, okay? And it costs energy to maintain it. But if you want to make it bigger, you can upgrade it into like a bigger starbase, and it has all these modules that you can add on it and stuff. So they've taken a lot of like the sort of starbase stuff out of like planets. When you build planets and then you can build a starbase, you used to be able to do that. Now you can build starbases anywhere, and if you want to create ships from them, you have to add like a shipyard module. You can increase your fleet capacity with other modules. There's like
money-making
trading
ones,
hubs and stuff.
Storage silos.
It's really, really good. It's really streamlined,
It's
like
good.
a lot of the annoying shit about the game.
Yeah.
So that it's a lot more sort of strategic in the sense that you can actually create a choke somewhere. Like if, you know, where there's like one system that maybe like another faction would use to get into your system if they were going to attack
but those
you.
become like important strategic points to capture early as
and
well.
now
right?
they've introduced the casus belli sort of stuff like claims. So you can so wars aren't just these massive, long-winded attrition fests. Now you can have very specific goals for like a small war. You could just like make a claim to a system that you want. And fight over that and literally resolve the war in like 2 seconds and take the system.
But those claims cost influence. So you can't just claim their empire and take it. So you will notice you're right, like you declare rivalry with someone to get a bit more sort of influence and stuff, and then they know that you're not on their side, and you start to build up your fleets and you claim their systems and they're claiming some of yours. Then you have a big war. But there is a war weariness mechanic, but it's actually a good thing because if you're in a defensive war and you're losing, you actually want to have to force them to the peace table and say, look, we've been fighting for 30 years. We should probably knock this on the head. And then you get 10 years of peace. Borders are changed. They might get a system of yours or whatever. It's really good, and the mega structures are good. You can build like all the.
It feels a little bit more like Crusader Kings now in a way, sort of thing. Like
I think without the storyline element that Crusader Kings brings, but I've found that, and I'm sure you have too, Chris, is that the story develops from the game as you're playing it, right? Like you're playing it, you're
That's
like,
right, Ted.
this fallen
You're
empire
absolutely
turns
right.
up. I don't know how you feel about it, Lewis, because you haven't played the new Stellaris, but you need to get on it, buddy.
I will. Maybe I'll get it on get on my laptop.
We should do one at some point because it's a slow enough game where you can chat a lot as well.
Absolutely. I really want to get back onto the wagon of playing these games with you because I think it was so much fun playing Crusader Kings and Stellaris and these games. That's right. I'm going away though to America for another 2 weeks. So I'm going to GDC, and this is a big thing now for us.
March and April are not
You're
going to be
like an international playboy these days.
I'm going away for a week in March and a week in April as well. So
oh my god,
I'm away in April too, boys.
And then my
we're all just away all the
we
time. Maybe summer is the time we'll be back.
Triforce we can do, that's for sure. Everything else,
Triforce can be done. Yeah,
it's tricky. I've got loads of things to say about Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah,
I'd love to tell you about it, but you'll be streaming so much, Sips. You'll be streaming really, really amazing. I've really enjoyed some of your Skyrim stuff.
Oh, it's been great. God, it's nice to just get stuck into it and play it for like because I can just play it for like 8 hours a day. So I'm in 5 days of streaming it, I'm already like probably past where I was in my original YouTube series of it, which took months and months and months and months to do. So it's great. It's such an awesome game. Even it's old, but man, it's so fucking good. Like it.
So Sips has been streaming a lot. I guess my 10 hours a day of streaming is just nothing. Just nothing to you. Oh yeah, Sips, I noticed you've been streaming a lot. Fuck that other bald idiot. He never streamed.
Yeah. There's only room for one bald idiot in this team. That's me, baby.
Fight! Oh my god! All right, well, I'm sorry I have to cut this short, but I actually have to go because I've got to walk over to this meeting, and it's going to be 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's a snowy day out there, so I better go.
Listen, it was
sorry
good
about
to
this,
gently
everyone.
ease ourselves back into a Triforce podcast.
Yeah,
even though
there will be a new one.
We can't rush
No,
in.
we'll be back next week, like all guns blazing.
Yep.
We'll do a proper length one, and it'll be great. And we'll make sure we make a lot of fart and dick jokes and stuff.
Well, we didn't do
all the
any
good
of
stuff
those.
that everybody.
Jeez.
I know. It's fucking. It's
Oh,
a
I
real
made up.
shame.
Let me just. I made up a joke. I'm pretty sure I made this joke up. Someone will have to tell me if I didn't. I'm very proud of this joke. Everyone tells me it's terrible, but I know they're wrong. All right, are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. What is Lionel Richie's favorite musical instrument? Cello.
Oh, amazing!
That's terrible.
I think that's a great joke.
That's a great joke.
I made that
Love
up.
it.
I'm pretty sure
Well,
I made
there
that
you go.
up. That's my first joke.
What is Lionel Richie's favorite dessert?
Jello. See, it works. It works.
Amazing. All right, you guys, thank you so fucking much. We'll see you next week,
Bye.
Yeah,
everyone.
thanks. Bye.
Bye.